Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Joe Parker recently split from Kevin Barry, right? Now, when he split from Kevin Barry, I said that is, in my opinion, it's a good move, but at the end of the day, I kind of thought, well, is Parker really collecting or is he trying to improve? And when I saw the reason why he split from Kevin Barry, he said it was geographical reasons, because he wants to base himself in New Zealand, spend more time with his family. Kevin Barry's based in the States, stuff like that. So I kind of thought, okay, is he just going to get some trainer in New Zealand to train him, and then we'll see how it goes from there, because that's kind of what I thought it would be. But now it's been announced that he is teaming up, at least for the time being. I don't know if this is permanent or whether this is going to be just for a one-fight deal, but he is teaming up with Andy Lee. Joe Parker's actually gone to London, so that would imply to me that they're pretty much going to get this Chisora fight across the line for May, because you're heading over now. It would imply to me that you're getting into camp ready for May the 1st, or sometime in May at least. So that's interesting. Andy Lee was not the name I would have thought of when I was thinking of who they were going to get Joseph Parker to train with. Some people were saying Ben Davison. I didn't think that myself. I thought that Joe Parker, his problem is that he needs a bit of dog in him. Ben Davison is a great trainer. You know, he's very good fundamentally. You know, he teaches his fighters well, but he is quite defensively minded, Ben Davison. And I thought Joe Parker, it's not about, if anything, it's overly defense. He's overly cautious when he's fighting, you know, step-up fights. He needs someone who's just going to bring that bit of dog out of him. And that's what I kind of thought, you know, maybe someone like Freddie Roach, Teddy Atlas, someone who teaches that kind of style, and Teddy Atlas being so fiery, maybe someone like that. But he's gone with Andy Lee. Now, Andy Lee is very new to training. He only really started training in 2019 fighters. He's two fighters that I know of in a stable at the minute, which is Paddy Donovan and Jay Quigley. Jay Quigley, I can't really say that I've seen many improvements with him, not because of Andy Lee, but because he's not really fought anybody. He fought twice in 2020, and they were both fairly run-of-the-mill fighters, so I haven't seen anything really from Jay Quigley. Maybe once he steps up and he fights Shane Mosley Jr., which is supposed to happen some stage, we'll see. But Paddy Donovan, I've been impressed. I like the advice Andy Lee has given him in the corner. I like what he's done. I think Andy Lee, from what I've seen, there's a good trainer there. He's obviously been trained by Sugar Hill. He trained with Sugar Hill, but he's trained by Emmanuel Stewart. So he's been around two guys who know boxing. Javon Sugar Hill, for me, great trainer, knows boxing. That's a name I would have picked for Joseph Parker, because knowing how pally he is with Tyson Fury, I thought maybe he'd look along that. Instead, no, he's gone with Andy Lee, Tyson Fury's cousin. I suspect that what Joe Parker maybe wanted to do was look at Javon Sugar Hill, but maybe Sugar Hill is thinking ahead and thinking, you know what, I need to get Tyson Fury in place, ready for this AJ fight, if and when it takes place. I reckon it will. And maybe they thought, right, the next best thing is Andy Lee, because he's been in camp with Emmanuel Stewart, trained with Emmanuel Stewart up until Emmanuel Stewart's death. He knows Javon Sugar Hill, he knows that Kronk style. That Kronk style may be what Joseph Parker needs. You know, Andy Lee, to have been around a trainer like Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart, for my money, probably the best trainer who's ever lived. You know, the knowledge he had about boxing, the psychology he would use on his fighters, it was just incredible. When you listen to Emmanuel Stewart talk, back when he was alive, it was just incredible. And this was a man who loved boxing. So if even a fraction of that is rubbed off on Andy Lee, it's going to be a good thing for Joe Parker. Andy Lee in his day was a good puncher. Joe Parker, some people have said that he lacks power. I don't think he does. I think it's the fact that he lacks the confidence to let his hands go. I think that he's too happy to just, you know, go along with a fight, if you know what I mean. Like, set a pace. If he knows he's going to win, not grab the bull by the horn. I think someone like Andy Lee won't be short about telling Parker, you know, step on the gas. You know, step on the gas. Do what you need to do. I think this is a good fit. It does strike me as this is to be close to Tyson Fury, because we know how pally the two of them are. And I reckon, as I said, that a large part of this is down to the fact that Tyson Fury's cousins with Andy Lee, he'll be close to Tyson Fury, I would imagine, because Andy Lee was in Tyson Fury's corner along with Sugar Hill for the Deontay Wilder rematch. So I reckon that that's what a large part of that is, so we can be close with Tyson Fury, so we can share a camp or something like that with him. But going from Kevin Barry to Andy Lee, I don't think that's a bad move at all. Andy Lee is still quite unproven as a trainer, it has to be said. But from what I've seen with Paddy Donovan, seems to be doing a good job with him. You know, Paddy Donovan is one to watch out for. Put it like this, right? I've been more impressed with Paddy Donovan at welterweight than I was with Josh Kelly when he turned pro. Now, Josh Kelly, they fast-tracked. Paddy Donovan, they're not doing that. They're gradually stepping him up. But I've been more impressed with what I've seen from Paddy Donovan than I was with Josh Kelly when he turned pro. So make it that what you will. Now that could be just down to the fact that Paddy Donovan is a good fighter, not necessarily Andy Lee. But I think Andy Lee, from what I've seen of him in the corner, he's quite good with his instructions and his advice. So him with Parker, we'll see how that goes. For Chisora, I still think that's a competitive fight. You know, I think Chisora's style will benefit Parker more, but I also think that Parker is one camp enough to get that little bit of extra fire in him. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm going to end it here. What do you think? Parker and Andy Lee, good move, bad move? Would you prefer it with someone else? Let me know in the comment section. Smash the like button on the way in or on the way out. Hashtag GMansRocks, all that good stuff. Lads and lassies, I'll talk to you. Peace.